All right, y'all. Over the years of running this podcast, I've noticed a little bit of hostility towards rap from my fellow metalheads.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's not often, but I've seen it enough times to be reasonably sure it's more than just a few isolated individuals. But why is that? Let's explore further on episode 242 of Heavy Metal Philosophy. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, Jon Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's Beat of the Week. Now, it should be obvious that this episode is not aimed at all metalheads. But this being the internet, it being 2025, and I know that people's attention spans and reading comprehension skills and listening skills have been utterly destroyed by AI and TikTok, I know I got to put that disclaimer out there. And I know that even though I put that disclaimer out there, I'm still going to get angry comments. What do you mean? I saw a guy at a concert recently with a Wu-Tang patch on his battle vest. I can't even be mad. I only have myself to blame. So, with that disclaimer out of the way, I have to address one other elephant in the room. Episode 114 of Heavy Metal Philosophy is titled, Why All Rap Metal Bands Are Terrible. And I stand by that episode today. Rap metal does suck, but not because I hate rap. It's because I actually do like some rap. Not mumble rap, though. I like some rap, but rap metal rarely meets that standard. And I love metal, and rap metal hardly ever meets that standard. Rap metal is usually neither good at rap or metal. My basic argument in that episode is that rap, by its very nature, is a very busy art form.
In a panic, the women is stranded, the men on the run, the profits abandoned, the law take advantage, the market is crashing, the industry wants.
And metal guitar is also a very busy art form. And therefore, one or the other usually has to take a back seat in order for them both to sit well in the mix. One of those two is going to suffer. And furthermore, another argument I made in that episode was that most rap metal bands, quote, rappers, are in no way comparable to the good MCs of rap. Let's look at the greats, okay? It didn't take many albums for Korn or Sevendust to figure out what they were actually good at and lean into that instead of the rapping. So I'm just clarifying, I don't hate rap. I hate rap metal. And there's a difference. But some metalheads do hate rap with a burning passion. And some of them, I can just chalk it up to racism. And there's not really much to say about that. There's no episode here to be made. So I'm going to focus on the other reasons why metalheads dislike rap. And here, I have to prove my point because I dared to utter the R word. Yeah, not that R word. That one's totally okay to say in 2025. I had the temerity to put the word racism out into the air, and now I know some people are going to be big mad. So I'm going to prove my point. And this also gives me an opportunity to address another thing that people have said about the show. More than once, but less than 5 times, I have been accused of deleting comments in the comment section. Let me say this clearly. I have never deleted any comments on any of my platforms. Now, I have blocked more than one person, but less than 3, and that results in their comments not being seen, but I have never deleted a comment ever. What I do know happens is YouTube itself will hide some comments that its system deems as potentially inappropriate. And I never see those comments. I have to go through a series of steps in order to see them, which I will show you on screen now what I have to do to see those comments. And in those hidden comments, you will see the proof of what I'm talking about with racism and rap. Okay, here we are in my YouTube studio channel dashboard, where I can see all the different metrics and things like that on the channel. If I want to see the comments Then I go here and I click community. And here's where all the comments on the videos live. However, some comments are hidden by YouTube, not by me. In order to see these comments, I have to go here and then I sort it by the comments that are, quote, held. Once I do that, then I can see the comments that YouTube has flagged as potentially inappropriate. Now, here in this section, these comments are fairly tame. YouTube is kind of erring on the side of caution here. But then I have to go a step further because down in this bottom section, this is comments that may be offensive have been hidden. And then I have to click another button called Show Hidden Comments to see these. Then I confirm it by clicking another button. And that's where I get to the real gems. The real nice guys of society live in here. So if you think I'm deleting your comments, no. Your comments are quarantined behind a couple of clicks that I may or may not have the energy to click on this month. So once I go through these steps to see these hidden comments, it is here where I found this absolute gem of a comment. Quote,
"Metal is racist, and it's supposed to be that way. Metal is implicitly white. It's working class white culture par excellence. That's why it's superior to mud goblin music. But I don't expect nons to understand. Metal doesn't come from your racial soul. Metal is an expression of the European racial soul. Go create your own culture. No apologies for nons who feel excluded. Good. I'm glad you feel excluded. Metal isn't for you. Also, anti-racist, quote, metal is fake and gay, and rap is primitive, undeveloped, goy slop that infects its listener with spiritual AIDS.
I gotta admit, y'all, that spiritual AIDS comment made me bust out laughing. But just to prove that this isn't one isolated incident, one individual crazy person, here's another great comment. Quote, "Keep normie woke government brainwashing, Jew brainwashing out of underground subculture. We will defend ourselves and our race. If you come on at us hard and you will not win, I can tell you that. You people will want to be liberal communists, stay in the realms of normacy and play you hip-hop garbage or pop vile, do it as far away from us as possible if you don't want any trouble." End quote. I could read you a lot more comments that live in that quarantine section. And let me tell you, they all live up to that quality that I just read. I want to move on and get to the point of this episode. I only made this aside to prove what I was saying earlier and also to say I've read a lot of mean comments on YouTube that don't get hidden by the system, including some death threats that I've gotten. So if you accuse me of deleting comments, I'm going to assume the one that got deleted read a lot like those ones that I just read. And I'm not going to be in any hurry to go through those steps to read that caliber of comment. And I'm certainly not going to spend any time or energy in responding to them because what could I possibly say? What combination of words could I string together with my meager rhetorical skills that's going to change those people's minds? Okay, my apologies. Now, let's get on with it. What other reasons do metalheads hate rap for? Well, one comment in particular stands out to me, and I really wish I could search my channel for certain comments and not just certain episodes, because I don't remember which episode it was that this comment was on for me to find it, and I would love to have a screenshot for you here on the screen. So, YouTube, if you could add that feature, I'd love you even more than I do now. Anyway, on one of the past episodes, I can't remember which one, it was probably either the gatekeeping episode or the rap metal episode, somebody left a comment that basically said something to the effect of metalheads should do X action so that metal will be on top again instead of rap. So the reason this person was hostile to rap is because of jealousy and also love of metal and wanting their beloved metal to be number one. This comment kind of dates this person a little bit because metal hasn't been more popular than rap since the late 80s, early 90s, but it's also a little bit misguided because metal has never been the number one genre. Even in the MTV heyday of metal in the 80s, metal was still less popular than pop and country. For example, Sabrina Carpenter, a basically brand new artist, if her monthly Spotify listeners drop to the level of Metallica, who is the most popular metal band on earth, she'd probably jump out of a window. And to be honest with you all, I kind of prefer it this way. I mean, it goes without saying that I love metal and I think it's the best music in existence. And there's a part of me that would love nothing more than for it to be the number one thing in the world. But metal gets a lot of its appeal from being on the fringes. And I gotta tell you, seeing Metallica this year really drove that point home to me. Metallica was great, but the stadium experience and being surrounded by mainstream fans, not so much. The acoustics in the stadium were terrible. It sounded awful. And I was surrounded by people lounging, eating nachos during a metal concert. And I paid hundreds of dollars for that experience. But if I see an underground band in a club, then I'm surrounded by fans that are there, involved and engaged. And it cost me $20. So I say let Beyonce and Taylor have the number one spot. Let their fans pay more for concerts than I do for whole vacations. And more importantly, let those mainstream artists be a magnet that draws the normies and coworkers away from us. And at this point, I gotta ask you all, does it bother you that rap is more popular than metal? I need to know. And now, moving on, I've got one more reason that I can think of why metalheads dislike rap. It's not metal, and that's a reason I can get behind. Metal is by far and away the kind of music that I want to listen to the most. I mean, I love Motown, and I love funk, I love classical, and I love folk music, but 99 out of 100 times, if you let me pick the music for the road trip, it's gonna be metal. Now, with that said, I feel like rap gets brought up as a genre that metalheads dislike more than others, with the exception of pop. But pop I understand because pop is basically the antithesis of metal. But is rap antithetical to metal? Rap is about being hard and about being real. It's about conquering. And just like in metal, the artists in that genre put on fantastical and hyperbolic projections in the pursuit of portraying said conquering. Just look at Manowar. Is their presentation really that much more ridiculous than 50 Cent? Now here, in my examination, in my curiosity, it might seem like I'm putting rap on par with metal. I'm not. There's only a handful of rap artists that I like. As I said earlier, if you give me the chance to pick the music, 99 out of 100 times it's going to be metal. My curiosity comes from why rap gets so much of the vitriol when other genres don't. For example, why don't I ever see EDM hate comments? What is it about rap that merits the vitriol over genres that suck way more? Like country music. Country music is the most monotonous, inauthentic, lowbrow art in existence. It's full of carpetbaggers pandering to all the stereotypes they hold in their head of rural folks like me. Why the are there Australian country artists singing in a Southern accent? Most of the songs in country are written in office buildings in Nashville and then performed by fashion models. And I know this is true because when I moved to the city to pursue my career, one of the first places I went to network with other musicians was a songwriting workshop. And there, a Dove Award-winning songwriter that works for a Nashville publishing company taught us exactly what to do to write a hit and how the sausage is made. Now here is where people are going to come at me with exceptions that prove the rule. Yes, I'm aware that Sturgill Simpson and Chris Stapleton exist. But exceptions prove the rule because by their very definition, they are exceptional. But getting back to rap, I have one last space to bring up. The gym. I'm not trying to listen to "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy" while I lift. Again, 99 times out of 100, I'm picking metal. However, I can totally lift to Run the Jewels or Sean Price.
We are the murderous pair. That with the jail and we murdered the murderers there.
Yeah, I can lift to that. And now that I've laid out the reasons why I think some metalheads hate rap, I've got to ask you all two questions. First question is, did I miss any reasons? Are there other reasons that you can think of why metalheads hate rap? And second question, for those of you who do like rap, what's the heaviest and hardest rap song you've heard? And to close, I'll give one of my examples for this week's riff of the week. But most importantly, check out the new drop in the merch store, links in the description. Read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.
Acts about pun. Gangsta rappers can't fight, so they rap about guns.